Welcome back. The St. Lucia Fire Service was kept on its toes throughout the holiday weekend.
The St. Lucia Fire Service responded to a myriad of vehicular accidents during the weekend of December 11th to 15th. News rocked the island that a Samaritan who was trying to assist another who had come into contact with a utility pole was electrocuted. Lead firefighter Stacey Joseph gave the details.
At approximately 8:10 p.m., the caller stated that a vehicle crashed into an electrical pole in Massad, Grosley. The responding officers found one male lying on the ground near the scene who was reported as being a civilian who was electrocuted while trying to assist in the incident. He was transferred to the ambulance where his wounds were treated, and he was transported to the OKEU hospital for further medical care. The driver of the crashed vehicle, however, refused medical assistance and subsequently signed a release form.
The individual has been said to be alive and in stable condition. On Friday 11, officers at the fire service headquarters responded to a call informing of a crash at Cul-de-sac Castries.
At approximately 8 p.m., the information received stated that a vehicle with 2 occupants veered off the road and crashed into a parked trailer in Cul-de-sac Castries. Emergency personnel found on the scene one male individual at the side of the road who was the passenger of the vehicle. The driver of the vehicle, however, was trapped and required the use of extrication tools to be removed from the vehicle. They were both subsequently transported to the OKEU hospital in a stable condition.
One motorcycle crash was also recorded.
Officers at the Grosley Fire Station responded to an emergency call on Saturday 12th December where a motorcycle with its sole rider veered off the road. Emergency personnel found the individual lying on his back on the pavement. He complained of pain to his lower back. The patient was immobilized and provided rapid emergency transportation to the OKEU hospital for further care.
Over the weekend, the fire service received 100 ambulance calls, 12 of which were motor vehicular accidents. Motorists are being urged to be careful on the island's roadways. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Jenny Bonzai.
Given the country's vulnerability to climate change, the government of St. Lucia has embarked on creating the Climate Adaptation Finance Facility, CAF, a US $5 million line of credit under the St. Lucia Disaster Vulnerability Reduction Project.
Stemming from recommendations provided during private sector and civil society consultations under the Pilot Program for Climate Resilience, the Climate Adaptation Finance Facility, CAF, will offer concessional climate change adaptation loans through the St. Lucia Development Bank to individual households and businesses.
From the homeowner's perspective, persons can look to see how they can strengthen their retaining walls, they can strengthen their roofs. Persons can put in shutters. Persons can look to harvest their rainwater to make them more self-sustainable. Persons can put on photovoltaic systems to produce their own electricity for energy efficiency. We've also seen it for businesses and the full spectrum of businesses, from the farmer to the contractor to the big business. We have facilities that will allow persons to, again, make their business more resilient.
The greater frequency and intensity of extreme weather and chronic climate impacts impose real costs on communities and companies. Extreme weather causes property damage, disruptions to business operations, and affects global supply chains across the economy. Sectors more closely tied to natural resources, such as agriculture or tourism, are particularly vulnerable to changing climate conditions. The St. Lucia Development Bank's Climate Adaptation Finance Facility will be offered at interest rates between 4 to 7% per annum.
A lot of persons, first of all, they started to take on solar water heaters. Then with the drought, we saw them taking on rainwater tanks and creating their own storage. For the farmers, they came and they were asking for the bigger tanks, 15,000-gallon tanks, which is things that they need, because we saw how the drought impacted everyone severely, particularly our food security.
This special financing arrangement can also be used to fund drought and disease-resistant crops, soil stabilization, greenhouses, the retrofitting of roofs and buildings, and the installation of photovoltaic systems, which convert sunlight into electricity to power homes and businesses. On the 20th of November, the Department of Economic Development, in collaboration with the St. Lucia Development Bank, went one step further and launched the Climate Adaptation Financing Facility Business Recovery Program.
The St. Lucia Development Bank, through its partnership with the DVRP, was able to have the World Bank and its partners, the Climate Investment Fund, repurpose the Climate Adaptation Financing Facility. And not that it's going to move away strictly from its core mandate, which was looking at making St. Lucians, their households, their businesses more resilient to the climate, but it now takes into consideration the impact of COVID. So they're allowing us to be able to build a level of resiliency for persons who were impacted by COVID. The intention is for persons to submit a business plan to us with their financial statements showing how they were impacted.
The loans have a starting interest rate of 3.75%, with a minimum loan amount of $20,000, while the maximum loan is capped at $200,000. Grants of up to 15% of the loan will also be offered to micro, small, and medium enterprises.
And we do thank the World Bank and the Climate Investment Fund for facilitating this sort of transition, but also for our partners at the Economic Development units at the ministry, from the minister down to Mr. Tommy Descartes, who was very instrumental in getting us to this position of being able to facilitate and assist St. Lucians in their recovery to the COVID.
The Climate Adaptation Financing Facility Business Recovery Program grants and loans will be provided for projects that support business continuity and recovery from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and climate resilience, with a grace period of 6 months.
Bank of St. Lucia has delivered on making its ATM machines smarter, easier to use, and more convenient for the general public. The local bank has rolled out the first of many new technological advances for its ATM fleet.
Modern technology has paved the way for multifunctional devices like smartphones, smartwatches, virtual classrooms, online banking, and now even smart ATM machines. Bank of St. Lucia had previously announced the coming of several new services and technological advances for its ATM fleet, and short of a few weeks from Christmas, the local bank has delivered. The first phase of the rollout, according to Deputy Managing Director Lyndon Arnold, focuses on improving the aesthetics of the room and overall convenience for customers.
There is a 5-minute process at 10 o'clock every morning, Monday to Friday, where we take the machines offline to do the balancing and processing or the replenishing. And that would sometimes cause an inconvenience to customers ranging from 30 to 45 minutes where the room would be closed. By moving to the rear loading machines, it means the machines can remain up and we can bring them down one by one to conduct maintenance or other checks and balances on them, thereby minimizing the disruption to customers.
In addition, Arnold says the new machines are equipped with tap card readers, making each transaction a lot faster, and will improve the overall wait time for customers.
No longer is the customer required to insert their card once if they have a contactless card, in other words. And that is the direction that the market is moving in. So once you have that contactless card, you just tap the reader and you can continue with the transaction as normal with your PIN, etc.
Phase 2 of the rollout gives customers the ability to deposit cash directly into the machine. According to Arnold, this intelligent deposit feature will be functional as early as January of next year.
Bank of St. Lucia will be the first ECCU bank within the region to offer that functionality to customers, whereby a customer will no longer be required to place the cash in an envelope, deposit it in the machine, and then wait for a technician or a custodian to clear it, validate the cash, and then apply it to your account. It means the customer can immediately insert the cash. The machine will recognize the notes and apply the credit immediately to the customer's account. So what we do apologize for is the current absence of the deposit functionality, which, like everything else that we've seen in 2020, has been affected by COVID. In February this year, the NCR technicians were on site with us to start the process, and they were finally able to rejoin us in October, where they completed that process.
The final phase of the project will be launched next year and also promises instant credit to customers depositing local bank checks, thereby eliminating the 3-day wait that many have become used to. With these new initiatives, BUSL continues to demonstrate its commitment to improving its services and the banking sector through technological advancement.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. The latest weather forecast is coming up next.